Hello and a good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Well, today hope feeling grand and knows when you're old. I am, oh my god! People of the tube, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to one of my new favourite amps I've ever played through, the SubZero SA100H. Ta-da! I actually reviewed a SubZero SA amp, I think about 2019, 2018, a long time ago. GIF Music very kindly sent me one for review, and it was the combo. And I remember really loving the combo. And it wasn't actually until basically a couple of months back, kind of like towards the end of 2022, that I found they did a head. And when I found it was £150, I had to get it, I had to try it and see what it was like. And like I said, PeopleTube, I have fallen deeply in love with this amp. It is amazing. So, this is a 100-watt, 2-channel, solid-state amp with real spring reverb. It's got a tank in the back. The reverb is insane. You've got a drive channel, you've got a clean channel, you've got a boost that basically just, it's not a volume boost. What it does, it just kind of gives you more gain, basically, on both channels as well. So if you want a bit more gain on your clean channel, you can have it. If you want to get a bit more gain on your drive channel, you can have it. You do have an effects loop in the back. You have a input for a foot switch. Foot switch doesn't come with it again, but foot switch doesn't come with it, but any foot switch will work. All it does is channel select. So if you've got a foot switch that works to channel selected amp, it'll work in this. Trust me, tried it. I don't think you can get it to turn reverb off and on, but you wouldn't want to turn this reverb off anyway. This reverb is amazing. So yeah, 2 channels. You've got a boost that goes over both. I'll talk about EQ in a sec. You've got an auxiliary in here, so you can plug in backing tracks if you want, play through the amp. You've got a headphone in as well for quiet practice, and also as a line out. So you can use this for, if you want to record DI with this thing, you can DI out from there, and we are going to try that in this video with you because I want to know what that sounds like. I might try that first actually while I've got my pedal board in, and we might give that a go first and see how it goes. So let's talk about EQ. Oh yeah, you got 2 outs for speaker cabs as well. The minimum ohm on this amp is 4 ohm. So if you've got like an 8 ohm or a 16 ohm cab, job's a good one. If you've got a 4 ohm cab, job's a good one. If some weird coincidence you've got a 2 ohm cab, don't plug it in. But I don't know why guitarists would ever have a 2 ohm cab. It'd be a bit weird. Anyway, I suppose if you're linking too many together, I don't know. I don't understand that. It's mathematics and I'm thick. So anyway, yeah, this thing looks amazing. Like I say, it's 100 watt, stupendously loud if you want it to be. Once you get it to about 1 o'clock on the volume dial, it kind of doesn't get any louder, but you'll never need to get it that loud. This is the secret amp PeopleTube I used in the gig vlog that I just did, the Aidfest gig vlog, and this is the secret amp I used, and I ran this at that gig on 2.5, and that was just about right for stage, for live use. It was loud, very loud. So once the on-stage sound was balanced, I could hear this amp really well, but my gravy lord, there is enough volume in this to stun a donkey at 50 paces. But really cool thing is as well, you turn it down and it goes whisper quiet without losing the tone. So it does it all. It really does it all. At this point in time, I have the volume set just below 1, and that's about right for where I'm playing here. It's probably about 80 dB, give or take 78 to 80 dB, I would say this is, but you can turn it down lower, and it still goes whisper quiet and doesn't lose the tone, which is amazing. So let's talk EQ. I think that's all the features covered. So, on the clean channel, it's very simple. It's very kind of Fender-esque. You've got you got volume, bass, and treble. And like I say, you can add in that boost switch here if you want for a little bit more grit, and I'll show you that in a bit when we get to plugging into it straight. You got a channel here to button here to channel select if you don't want to use a foot switch. I just use the drive channel as per usual. I never really touch clean channels on amps, really, especially not these kind of amps. The drive channel is a bit weird in its EQ, but it still makes sense. So you have a gain dial, which is amazing. It's really gradual. You can really get like really nice kind of like clean, dirty clean, overdriven to kind of like full on kind of rock tones from it. It's amazing. I love this thing so much. You have a contour dial, a bass dial, a treble dial, master volume for this channel. And then the far right dial here is reverb. For the intro jam, I was running reverb at 12 o'clock. And the spring reverb in this thing is really nice. It really is good. And again, a real spring reverb. Real spring reverb. Not like, not emulated or anything like that. A real spring. And the tank is quite big. It's about that big in the back of the head. So, yeah, it's a very bare bones amp. It does, 2-channel, effects loop, 2 outs, foot switch if you want it, 2 channels, reverb. It's very straightforward, and I like that. There's no bells and whistles on it. But my gravy lords, is this thing amazing. And again, £150, people of Tube. 150 quid. Oh my god. For, I think it's 250 quid, you can get this head with a 2x12 cabinet. What is going on? I really want to, at some point in time period, I want to get the 2x12 cab and see what they're like together. I have to know. Because, like I say, this amp has gone in as one of the best like budget amps I've ever played through. I absolutely love it. And in all fairness, I've got my Orange CR120 here, and I've got my Marshall MOSFET here over there, and I've been playing through this more than I've been playing through any of your amps. I love how tight the sound of this amp is. It's really together. The Orange has a bit of a sag to it, like Orange amps do. They're a bit baggy. The Marshall is a tad bit kind of bright compared. This sits in my happy area. And oh my god, do I love it. And it looks cool as well. It's got this kind of like weird kind of Tolex on it that makes it look like carbon fibre, but it's actually not. But it's a very cool looking amp. I love the name as well, SubZero. Super cool. SA100H. It just sounds cool. And it is cool. So anyway, what I'm going to do first, people of Tube, is I'm going to show you with my pedal board. Let you hear it with some pedals. Then what we'll do is we'll try the DI, and then after that we'll plug in loads of different guitars straight into it, show you the clean channel, show you the drive channel, and show you what this thing is capable of straight in. So, without further ado, let's do some pedals. Haha. Okay, Pichu, there you go. So that's my pedal board into the SubZero amp. Lord help me, please. I love this. It feels fantastic to play through. It's really tight when you put distortion on it. Everything's going through the front end as well. Delays, reverbs, you name it. It's all coming through the front end. The reverb you hear is not reverb from my board either. It's reverb from the SubZero. It's actually the spring reverb. And for some reason I turned it to Inspector Clouseau when I said here. The reverb here. Anyway, this thing's amazing. You heard it clean right at the beginning and at the end as well. But it takes pedals like an absolute champ. Even though it's not a champ. Anyway, that's not a funny joke, Dave. You've done it far too many times. Stop it. Anyway. Amazing. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try the DI out, because apparently, you can use the headphone out as a line out. So let's try it, shall we? Let's see what happens. So next thing you'll hear is okay, people. I do want to show you the line out. It sounds good, but the problem is, I'm still going to show you, but bear this in mind. My adapter here, my 1/4" jack to mini jack adapter is knackered. It's acting the goat. So you will be able to hear the tone, but there's this kind of like really annoying hum, and it's all coming from this. If I move that around, it goes away. But unfortunately, that adapter's knackered. I'm going to have to get a new one. But yeah, so I'm going to show you a little bit of it quickly, just to let you hear the sound. It does sound good, but I can't really go in. I can't go in too much depth, unfortunately, because that's actually broken itself. I've been trying to move the lead around, trying to find a place I can like wedge it, but unfortunately there isn't. It's just not creating a good enough connection. But I'll show you anyway. Another thing to note as well, which about the headphone, which I didn't mention, is when you plug into the headphone socket, it cuts the speakers off, which is really cool for recording, because then you can just do silent recording. Live, probably not so much. You probably want if you're going to use this live and DI out the headphone out, you probably want to be able to hear it through the cab as well as a monitor. So it's not really a thing I would use live. But you never know, you might just want to use that live. You do need to have it into a cab though, otherwise it'll blow up. Anyway, let me show you the line out of what I can. I'm a bit annoyed now, Pikachu. I really want to show you how good this line out is, but I can't because, as I say, adapters. Anyway, this is what it sounds like with extra added crap adapter hum. Okay, with you, so you can hear it there. Like I say, that humming noise, that's coming from my adapter. When I move the adapter around, it actually goes away. But I had to turn the mic pre in the zoom up quite high as well, and that was adding even more hum to it. But that line out is amazing. That sounds so good, and I'd be really tempted. If it didn't cut off a speaker, I'd probably be using that today only instead of a mic. But because it cuts the speaker off, I can't do it. Anyway, sounds amazing. That's a godsend for recording as well, because again, you can just have you can have it in the same room and monitor it. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. Breathe, Dave. So, let me quickly tell you how I've got it set up for my pedal board, and then what we'll do is we'll plug in loads of different guitars, well, as many as I've got, and let you hear it with a load of different guitars, and get as many different sounds out of this thing as I can. It's one of those amps, YouTube, again, it's an amp of a million voices in one channel. Like, I could do away with the clean channel on this amp very easily, and just use the drive channel and get everything, from clean to mass distortion. It's all there on that drive channel. It's incredible. So when we do get to the sounds, the first sound you'll hear is going to be, I'm going to plug my telly into the clean channel, let you hear it with clean. But I think from then on, I'm just going to show you, I'll show you the boost as well on the clean channel with the Telecaster. But from then on, I think what it's just going to be is drive channel with different varying degrees of gain, because it's just incredible. It really is. So I have my pedal board plugged into the drive channel, no boost, I'm not using the boost, and I have a gain on 1, so that's basically 7 o'clock. Contour and bass are on 0, so they're turned all the way off. Treble, Now, people of YouTube, you might, if you've been around this channel for a long time, you might want to sit down. Make sure you sat down and brace yourselves, okay? Just some deep breaths in and out. In and out. Okay, so you sat down. Okay. Treble is at 3 o'clock. Not even lying. Check this out. Look. If I bring you over here, look. I have the treble cranked up. And the reason being, I'm going to put you back over here. Apologies for noise. I can't get it down because there's a strap in the way. The reason being is this amp is very, 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 very dark. It really appeals to my ear. But it's not dark enough to be kind of like, you know, like... Ooh. When the treble's all the way up, it still sounds great. But the treble dial, I feel, is more like a presence. And it's more like a brightness dial. When it's all the way off, it's really kind of like Eric Johnson-y. Really warm and nice, but still has cut. But when you start turning it up, it never gets harsh. I can run the treble on this thing on 10, and it never gets harsh, which to me is like unheard of. It's insane. It's amazing. There are a few amps I've been able to do this on, but my God, oh my God, I love this amp. Anyway, people, I don't want to make more noise. I don't want to talk anymore. So I'm going to plug a load of different guitars into this thing. I'm going to unplug my pedal board. We're going to go straight in now. Everything you hear from now on is just the amp into the cab here. This is actually, by the way, people, as well, I'm using Queenie's Hayden cab. This isn't my cab. This is Queenie's cab here. Still 412, but it's actually not mine. But I really like the sound of it, so I've kind of bagsed it for a while. Anyway, yeah, so let's get into it. So first thing you're going to hear is the clean channel. I'll put the boost in at some point. We're going to plug the Telecaster in. So let's go. Let's make some more noise with the SubZero SA100H. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It is amazing. okie dokie, YouTube. There you go. I don't really have any words. If I'm being perfectly honest, I really don't know what to say. I love it to bits. I've got to say though, I don't think this amp will be for everybody. It's a very dark voiced amp. There's quite a lot of low end in it, and there's quite a lot of kind of like, you know, low mids thing. I mean, you can get rid of that if you crank the treble and use the contour dial. The contour dial is amazing as well. I use that a lot in the sounds you just heard. It just kind of like works. It just works. Let's just say that. I don't think I need to say anything else for YouTube. This thing, I hope the sounds came across okay, is unreal. Absolutely unreal. It's one of those amps that, like, if I was playing live and my pedal board died and I had to plug straight into this thing, I could do everything from the guitar. You know, like, you just have to crank the gain. I love it with the boost mode on. It's got so much cut, but, like, fatness at the same time. But crank the gain, stick the boost on for the kind of like, never get the singy sustain, and then just use your volume control on the guitar. You can kind of get, you know, you can go down to clean, you can go to overdrive, kind of dirty clean. It's just one of those ridiculous things. It really is. And again, 150 quid. What is going on? It's just insane. Anyway, people, I hope you enjoyed this vid on the SubZero SA100H. Like I said, I remember demoing the combo years ago and really liking that. But being more of a head kind of person, I like head and cab combinations. Don't really like combos as much. I totally forgot they had a head until like a couple months ago when I found this one. I was like, oh my god, I gotta get it. And yeah, I love it. Lived with it for a while now. And like I say, I'm using this amp a lot. And I'm really enjoying it. I love the way this thing sounds. I love the way it sounds with my pedal board. I love the way it sounds straight in. Any guitar I plug into this thing, it takes me a couple of seconds to find a sound that I want, and I'm away. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, it just takes no time at all to dial it in. And again, it's simple as can be. It's as simple as can be. Can go bright, can go dark, can do whatever you want. It does really, really good clean stuff. I will say, people, if you want to use the clean channel, I would maybe engage the boost. Without the boost function, the clean channel is actually very, very, very quiet. But with the boost function in, it just adds a little bit of like bit more oomph to it, a bit more punch to it. It makes it respond a bit better. But my gravy lords, this amp, it's just one of my. This is easy one of my favourite amps that I've ever played through. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's like, and again, you can get so much on the gain dial. You can get so much out of the EQ. The reverb is beastly. I love what it sounds like. The reverb adds to the sound. You know, the higher the reverb is, the more it kind of interferes. And I like the way it interferes. When I was playing the baritone through this, and I had reverb on 10, it was like it was almost like an orchestral kind of thing over time. I don't know if it'll come across through the audio, but it was weird, but I loved it. There was something going on. It was extraordinarily awesome. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now, people, because I'm going off my head, and you know, I need to calm down. Okay, I can't breathe properly. So, moving along. So, I hope you enjoyed this vid on this amp, people. Yeah, really, I mean, again, this amp won't suit everybody, but for me, liking the darker sounds, and like, you know, not as kind of like, you know, trebly kind of sounds, which is weird considering how high I have the treble. This amp just ticks all the boxes for me. It's simple, straightforward, it's loud, it's got a great reverb, it can do everything I want it to do, and it's cheap as chips. It's insane. I still can't get my head around how cheap this thing is. 150 quid. What is going on? That blows my mind. That blows my mind. And like I said, I'm using this amp more than I am my Orange and my MOSFET right now, which is crazy. Anyway, you're going to see this in a lot more videos, people, being used. Oh, good lord. This amp's kind of ruined me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, YouTube. If you like the videos I do on this channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Links to that down there, as well as links to my music. good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.